Hey everyone, welcome back to the morning after. We have a very familiar face in the studio today. For anyone who is a big Bravo fan, she is a reality TV queen, mega podcaster, and powerhouse mama who is glowing inside and out. I've guested her on her show myself, and now we meet again. Hello, Lala. It is so nice to see you again.
I'm so happy to be here, and I was really looking forward to meeting you.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Let's talk about this.
Well, Kelly raved about you, and I was like, I have to meet this human. I think we would really vibe.
Oh my God, we're best friends already.
I know.
I love it. I will tell you, I listened to that podcast a few days after the fact, but I was drawn to it initially because my cousin Lisa is a huge fan, and she said, you have to listen to what Kelly said about you. And you were talking about my daughter, Emma, who's adopted, and Kelly said something along the lines, it's amazing how even an adopted child can take the characteristics on of a parent. She's like, Hank never shuts the fuck up, and Emma never shuts up. And I'm like, oh, but you love me. That was endearment.
Well, it was very true.
Yeah.
And honestly, the fact that I said of kids taking after, even if they're adopted, their parents' qualities like that is really, really true, and I know for you as well.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that, we do a segment on here that's called It's a Lot.
Okay.
And what is a lot for you right now?
My baby daddy.
Ooh.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Like, why?
So we have been battling for many years, and we finally got all of our ducks in a row and put the custody battle to bed. But it's just, I'm home base for my child, and we have structure. And I would blame that on being a Virgo, but I'm like, no, this is just being a parent. There's bedtime and routine.
Yeah.
And he just flies by the seat of his pants, and had my daughter on an 11 p.m. flight last night when she has school this morning, and I'm just and I try to be chill about it and understanding that things happen, but I'm like, can we just get it together for 5 minutes?
Right.
We're all good. We're still all good.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you got me revved up last night. I go to bed at 9, and I wake up, and no one's let me know if my child's home yet. So I'm texting, and they're like, oh, we're still in the air. What?
Yeah, that's tricky. I'm divorced, so I feel this, when and I know my daughter's very well cared for, so that's most important. But I think to myself, well, is she eating the Annies over there because I'm giving her the Annies over here? And is she playing with this kid over there because she's doing this over here?
Right.
You don't want to intrude too much because that's their time.
Totally.
But you also want there to be some sort of normalcy, along all lines.
Structure.
When did you separate? When did
she
your baby have to start bouncing back and forth?
Well, she was 3, so I don't think 3 or 4. So I don't think, and she's 7 now. So I don't think she'll have a memory of that experience. I think her life will kind of just be I've always had 2 different homes.
Totally.
And, that.
When I think about kids who come from divorced parents, they never sit there and go, I had fruit snacks at mom's and not at dad's, but they always remember if their parents didn't get along.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful that he and I were at each other's throats before she can remember anything.
Yeah.
Now she picks up on things. And the fact that he and I can co-parent in an amicable way, and I can call him and be like, she's acting out. Listen to your dad on the phone. We're communicating. You will not hustle both households.
Smart.
I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
That is something, when I think about, because I have a bunch of friends who come from divorced homes, there was never, like you said, there was never I got this at this house and this at the other. But there also was the scenario of Dad let me get away with more, and Mom was a little more strict. And I do think when they're growing up, that can be tough because they want to get away with stuff. But when they're older, I think they do recognize and they're grateful for the structure and things like that. That would be very hard to handle when you have such structure in your home, to know that when she's not with you, there is the possibility of where she could be going to bed at 11. And here's my question. When he drops her off at school today, he dropped her off?
He did, yes.
Okay. So are you on today or no? Or is he on today?
So
sorry, if you don't mind me asking.
It's all over the place because of the line of work that he's in, and he's usually in Florida. Okay. So today, school starts at 8:45. At 10 o'clock, she still was not there. And I'm like, not my time? Luckily, they may just be finger painting today. And because I don't want to be, I want to pick my battles very carefully. Yeah. And that's just not one that I'm trying to pick today. But I did tell him he was supposed to keep her until this evening. And because of last night, I said, I'll be picking her up after school. You know, I've been cool as fuck. Fun time is over. We need to get back into a routine. And he was totally cool with that. And I'm grateful. So, yes, I'll pick her up right after your podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And the reason because I think about if there is a parent who is more lackadaisical and allows more things, when you pick her up today and she's probably going to be really tired.
Yes.
And cranky.
Yes.
And immediately my mind goes to probably selfishly, like, now I have to put up with this.
Totally.
You don't have structure and you're like, that would be really hard. I feel like I'm a type A person, especially when it comes to my children.
Yes.
And luckily my husband is too. My husband's probably more so than me. We like schedules. But there is time where you have to calm down as well and just be like, listen, this is life. But doing that in two separate ways, I can imagine that's really, really stressful.
Yeah.
It is hard. A lot of correcting behaviors and things like that. And this is life. You know, we're rolling with the punches. This is my normal. So like to sit and like complain about it and wish that it wasn't this way. It's like there's nothing you can do. So like get the fuck over it.
Yeah.
And I will say, even when you're in the same home as parents, you differ in your parenting techniques and you differ in front. I always tell my husband, when we're in the same room, if you have a problem with how I'm handling things, don't say it in front of the kids.
Yeah.
And we've had that happen multiple times. I pull his legs out from under him. He pulls them out from under me. So there's always going to be like different ways of parenting that you're going to have to deal with, regardless of whether you're in a single, in one home or two.
I agree with you. And these kids are so smart and they get smart quick. Like they could hustle anybody into doing anything. The moment they see you as not a team with your co-parent or your partner,
They take
You're
advantage.
screwed. You're totally screwed.
so screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tyler
Well,
takes
that
advantage
it's a lot was a lot because it is. I mean, it's a constant thing and it's tough. I mean, it's tough to go through all of that.
Parenting's
So
hard anyways.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
It is.
Remind everyone how old your kids are.
My kids, so I have Ocean, both girls. Ocean is 4 and Sosa is 8 months.
Oh my gosh, we are a room of girl parents.
Yeah, all girls.
Isn't that so fun?
I love having a girl. I didn't think I wanted a girl, and then I had a girl, and I'm like, I
Why
need to have a
didn't you want
girl.
a girl?
Because I just thought, like, I don't know. I just thought having a boy would be easier because I'm a boy and I know how to do it. And like, I was scared of like braiding hair and all that shit. But
God, I would so think a
Can
gay
you
dad
braid
would
hair?
want-
no, I can't do shit. I'm the worst gay ever. I can barely like put product
But
in my
you're
own hair.
trying.
I'm trying. I took a
what
class. They had a
matters.
class at the salon where I live, where they had like all dads come in to learn how to do their little girl's hair.
That is freaking adorable.
Very
that really
adorable.
sweet?
I
Yes.
have ADD and I could not focus, and I walked out of there and I'm like, I can't even fucking put her hair in a ponytail. Like it was too like the guy was moving too quick. He was just like so,
Hair is very hard,
Yeah.
but just the fact that you went
Yeah.
and did that is like really, really sweet.
it was fun. It was cute.
And you
It was
should
cute.
tell her that when she's like.
I,
when she
I
goes
took
big. I
pictures
tried.
to remind her. Yeah, I tried.
Full on vlog.
Yeah.
Like, I did it.
Yeah.
I will say the hair though, 4 girls, and I'm not like I didn't really know how to braid, how to teach myself, but I really realized when people are like getting their kids ready for school or getting ready for like if we're on vacation with a bunch of friends, 4 heads of hair and like a lot, like it's a
How do you
bitch.
get 4 children, girls, out of the house in the morning for
I'm
school?
mean. I'm not.
have to be.
I'm
You do.
so mean.
Drill sergeant.
I
Yeah.
am, and I hate like, especially when Matthew's in season and I'm by myself. I am like, and when he's there, he calms everything down, and he can obviously help me out while I'm doing their hair. He's making breakfast, whatever it might be. But when he's gone, I hate myself in the mornings.
Yeah.
I really do, because I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you not ready? Get the fuck up.
Right.
Like, I had to go shake my daughter out of bed because Matthew's out of town yesterday. Shake her out of bed. I was like, I'm gonna fucking leave you. And I think I might have used that for it. It was bad. I was out. I was done. And I was
Every
10
parent
minutes
has
in
done that.
to the
yeah,
day.
10 minutes in. What a great start.
You haven't even gotten out of bed yet. And I'm already cussing at you. It's bad. But
I have no judgment when it comes to parenting. Like there are certain things. I mean, the comment section is wild. The way that women will nitpick other women about their parenting, and I'm like, this is just called survival, bitches.
Yeah.
Like, if we're surviving, if we're giving them love and we're feeding them, an occasional F word when they're not falling in line, all good.
It all works out.
They
all
learn,
works
they learn
out.
to use it in the right way. You know what I mean?
And that's all we care.
That's all we care about.
Yeah.
Just if you're going to use it in the right way. And maybe when you're.
Are we
you know,
done
older.
talking about kids now?
No.
I know,
I
sorry.
No,
It's a lot turned
I'm
into
sorry.
12 hours.
He
I'm
wants
so
to,
sorry.
No,
I'm so
'cause we all
obsessed
get
with
it.
you and you're like, and everything that I can't even like, I love, okay, we all have kids. Kids are great. Da, da, da. Okay, so let's talk about it.
We're going to go back to kids because this is our Mother's Day episode.
Can we start at Vanderpump? Just
Always.
everything. Just, first of all, how did that all happen?
So Vanderpump, I had two dear friends that I grew up in Utah with, and our moms have been best friends since junior high. So it was like deep-rooted friendship.
Is your mom from Utah?
My mom is originally from Texas, and then she was an Army brat, so she moved all over the world.
Okay.
Ended up in Utah. So these two girls, Madison and Danielle, they end up moving to Los Angeles, working at SUR. So when I finally made my way out to just visit, I wasn't even living here. I would go see them and underage drink at SUR. And it was when it was petite, you guys. Lisa Vanderpump wasn't even involved at that point in time. So when I then make the move at age 23, they're still working there. And I would just go and drink and kiki. And Lisa Vanderpump happened to be having dinner that night. And she comes up to me and says, you're new. We start talking. I mean, I was a little fucking buzzed.
She just, she recognized you at the, okay.
Yeah. And I had a connection with my two friends who were working there on top of, very loose connections with Stassi and Jax, who I had met in Vegas, a couple years back, and that was the first time they had met and became a couple. There were just things where it was this is an organic
aligning
tie.
Yeah.
And she offered me a hosting position at SUR, aka let's test this girl out.
Yeah. You're beautiful. She's got a good eye. She has a good eye. Lisa Vanderpump has a good eye.
She does have a good eye.
Yeah.
And that show is like lightning in a bottle.
Yes.
I don't think it will ever happen again.
Were you prepared for the lightning strike of it? Because it took off.
So I joined season 4.
Yeah.
I had heard of the show because, again, my friends worked there and said that they were filming a show. I literally was like, who the fuck would watch a bunch of servers? Who gives a shit? I watch Housewives because they're, rich and fabulous.
And we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I honestly it was a platform for me to have fun and be kind of out of pocket. And I had the best time and I was drinking heavily. So I don't know what I was expecting. I was almost a little bit of a fish out of water. I was 23 years old. I had just moved to LA. I had never lived by myself. I'd always lived at my parents' home in Salt Lake City, Utah. So to come out to LA and be on my own, no supervision, no one to answer to. My parents were really cool, but it was they still want to know, are you going to come home tonight? There was still that aspect. Now I'm in LA and now you're telling me I'm going to be on TV?
Yeah, on a reality show.
Fuck yes. Yeah. Are you joking? I got into a lot of trouble, a lot of hot water. People ask me if I regret anything.
Yeah, I was wondering that. Yeah.
I'm going to run your show now.
Okay.
I'll ask myself the questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do this. That makes our job easy. We'll just sit here.
Let's just go home.
I don't regret anything. Taking my top off under the waterfall and everyone's boyfriends being there. I'm it's tits. Take yours off. You got the same ones. Mine are probably better.
Which is exactly why you were on that. It's exactly why you were on that show. Vanderpump knew it. She felt the energy. She got it. But it for me, and I think for Kelly too, it's you can look back and you can regret certain things. But I also think it's what got you to where you are now.
Agreed.
Right.
For every aspect of your life.
Yeah, there were many moments, and when you start something like that, you have a lot of people who are like, I'd love to be your manager. I'd love to represent you. And you don't realize, because that's just such a cool thing to hear, that not everybody is qualified and knows how to put you into a position where you can thrive beyond reality television.
Right.
Because that window is very small. I mean, the checks that come with it, we're always grateful, but I certainly could not provide a fantastic life for the long haul for myself and 2 children. So season 5, when shit kind of hit the fan and I was being called a home wrecking whore and all of these things, I end up running back to Utah. It was just way too much for me. I had a woman reach out to me, and she was a legitimate manager and really, pointed out all of these things that I had done in the past and said, this will at some point, you will get a call at some point that this show is over. What's your game plan?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, it doesn't last forever? So we really teed up like what my game plan was and like what were we going to parlay this show into. And she did a great job of making me feel safe. I then started really having to hone in on thinking about things before they exited my mouth, which is not easy.
That's tough.
It was very tough.
Yeah.
So
You both have lived that.
Yeah, I'm like, there's like a montage of all the
Yeah.
things. I'm like, maybe I do have a lot of regrets.
No, but like as you're talking, I'm also thinking about my past. And my past wasn't on television, thank God. I made, and I wouldn't say they were mistakes, but I was young. You make decisions that you look back, I probably maybe would have done that differently. But also at the same time, like you said, it got you to where you are today. It got my relationship to where it is today. It all tends to certainly make sense in the end. But you do want someone that is protecting you in your corner. Like I couldn't imagine going through that. I was going to ask about your parents. Like when your parents, were they still in Salt Lake when you were first on the show and all through it? Are they still in Salt Lake?
My dad passed away 7 years ago. And then my mom and my brother moved to LA 3 years ago.
Okay.
And we all live together in my house in the valley, and it's like an orcapod situation. Who knows if that'll be the forever, but right now the dynamic works. Back when I was first on Vanderpump, you're gonna die. And this is not that my parents, or I guess my mom is not supportive. My mom's very supportive of me. But she has never seen an episode of Vanderpump Rules. She has never read my book. And when people ask her why, she goes, I have the real life version.
Right, I don't need to see the edited
I don't
version.
need to see. I know what's in her book because she's my daughter. I know what she's said on TV because she comes home and tells me. So I'm kind of grateful that they didn't. And I remember after my infamous Watch What Happens Live with James Kennedy, where we kept dropping the F word, calling my dad because I woke up the next morning and it was like headlines everywhere about how disgusting I was. And I called him and he talked me off the ledge. And it was frustrating that he was doing that because I'm like, but you didn't see it. So you're just going off of what I'm telling you. It was really, really bad. And he said, tomorrow, someone more famous than you is going to fuck up really bad and no one's going to care about what you did.
Oh, I kind of like that.
And
Yeah.
and it's really
And it's
true.
true.
The media cycles real quick.
It does.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's also true the fact that like he's like, listen, you can say whatever you want to it, but like I know you, and that's what I always try to remind myself about when we have these headlines or whatever. That like the people who I love and my friends and my family know who I am,
Right.
And so they could care less about a headline because it's not. We know it's headlines are headlines and whatnot. But it's so important to have that foundation. So if you don't have that foundation, and I do feel like there's celebrities that don't have this foundation that get crushed and it ruins them because they
Yeah.
have nothing to lean on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not going back to kids, but I think that's the one thing that people ask me, are you worried that your girls are going to watch Vanderpump Rules one day and see how you acted? And I'm actually hopeful that they do watch and see that like your mom has done crazy things. I am always going to be a safe space for you. It's always going to be judgment free. We're going to work through things together. And the house is solid. We have a solid foundation. The outside world is so scary. It will try to put you 6 feet deep.
Rip you apart.
Home is where we build you up to go out and take all of that on.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's
love
what your
that.
home was.
I
too.
had that.
Yeah.
That's great.
nice.
And I
Yeah.
love that your mom's now here. And I know your brother Easton
Yes.
is awesome. Like he was I didn't know I was getting to meet him, but he was amazing as well.
We have a good thing happening.
I love that.
I mean,
for
it
you.
kind of
Yeah.
sounds like a reality show. I mean, all you'd have to do is throw a few GoPros up in the corner and tape the whole damn thing. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all living in one house. Do you need a
Exactly.
producer? I'm here for it.
Really?
You need someone saying,
Done.
She's trying to get me to move to LA. She's been doing this forever.
Why don't you do that?
I have my established real career in Detroit, and I love
real
it.
career asshole. This is
My
real.
career, my real television, my life.
Can you tell he's on television?
Yeah.
I like it. What is it, news?
Yeah. Can you tell?
A little bit.
Because I'm a little muted.
His
I'm
segments,
muted. No.
his
No?
segment's called "Help Me, Hank."
Yeah, I help people. It's nice.
I love that.
Yeah,
cute.
I do.
I had
It's
no
nice.
idea.
Yeah, there you go. See?
All right, Splashers, we always talk about, what's good for us on this show as parents, as adults, but we really should do the same for our children because there's a lot of kids' vitamins and supplements out there that are just crap, to be honest. They're filled with the gunky stuff, the gummies, all this stuff. And honestly, this is why I love Haya. To be honest, I love it because my kids love it. It's really easy. They ask for it every morning. And also, it's filled with all of the good things. I mean, we're talking 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin D, B12C, zinc, folate, and many others to help support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more. We all have gaps in our diets, and so do our children. So we've worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. You can receive 50% off your order. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/morning. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to hiyahealth.com/morning and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. All right, we are going to go back to kids because it is Mother's Day.
But don't let me forget to circle back to one important reality because we share a love of the original, the OG Housewives, New York, and my favorite is when
of all
Bethany
time.
goes back and watches it. Have you been following Bethany watch it on IG?
Is she doing a recap?
She's doing, yeah, it's so good. But like, is Scary Island like your favorite? Like.
It's the best.
The best.
It's where
I wake
I
up
go.
sometimes at 3 a.m, like sweating, thinking
Yeah.
I'm there, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't control Kelly Ben Simone, and like, I just that whole she doesn't share the love of the original Real Housewives.
I just don't.
As long as you don't say that you love the reboot.
No, I don't.
Horrible.
I don't watch any reality. But I did want to get your question on one because all of my friends are watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Okay.
And obviously you're from Salt Lake, but you're not Mormon.
I'm not Mormon.
Is anyone in your family Mormon?
My dad was raised Mormon and left the church at 22.
Okay.
So we were like the black sheep of the family. My grandmother on her deathbed, she had cancer, and she started crying to my dad, and my dad was like, "I know, I'm sad too," because she could have gone any day, and she said, "I'm not sad because I'm dying. I'm sad that you won't be able to see me in heaven," because they believe in that whole
Mormon,
tear situation.
Yeah.
So I'm very familiar. And I watched a few episodes, I think the first 3, but I think it was a little too close to home where I'm like,
Yeah.
I knew women like this, and it's very strange.
So were you surrounded? Okay, so what I was told is like some of them practice, some of them don't on this show. And you were surrounded by both of that, right?
I was surrounded by both, I would say.
Okay, was it like, I just think of like, was it wild? Like, tell me a little bit about it.
I think it definitely made it so that I have a very ick feeling when it comes to organized religion.
Okay.
Across the board, not
across
just Mormon.
the board.
Okay.
Well, specifically Mormon.
Yeah.
But across the board, anybody telling me that there's rules and a book to follow, like, let me just go out into the world and want to be a good human,
Yeah.
and it's all
see
good,
nothing
right?
about that. Yeah.
So it put the ick in my mouth with that, for sure. But it was crazy because all of my friends were not Mormons. It's almost like we gravitated toward each other because the Mormons had such a clique, and
Yeah.
certain parents were funny if you were hanging out with their kid, but you weren't Mormon. And what are your parents like? We don't want our daughter over there because will they see that there's wine at that house? They were all, it's a very weird and culty religion.
My question is like, you're going to school with people who aren't Mormon. You're going to see things at parties, I would say, or are they not allowed to go to parties? Like, I don't even know, like, how do you shelter your kids that much to where
they find a way. And all of the parents that sheltered their kids were the girls who were like giving handies in the 8th grade.
went crazy. That's always how it works.
So it does have like the opposite effect,
Yeah.
obviously.
So interesting.
But I think I'll watch season 2 because I've heard it's fantastic. I actually have a friend, one of Easton's friends, who's going to be on it this season. And his girlfriend, or I guess ex-girlfriend now, was one of the ones a part of the hooking up type stuff. Because right now, season 1 is all about just the one girl who did all of the hooking up. And her mom talk friends are like, you fucked up for all of us. Now they're bringing in the girls who are like, boom, you know?
Wow. Who knew it was all going down in Salt Lake? I mean, even the Real Housewives, like that franchise of Salt Lake was crazy.
So good, right?
So good.
They're like beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very interesting, but I do find I kind of want to venture there and get a feel for it, because I mean, I feel like I live in a bubble. Like, I don't know the Mormon culture very well. I mean, I don't know.
But why would you?
Yeah,
I don't know, but now I want to know.
Well, it's like what you could dig deep into
But,
being
like,
in LA. You could tear some Scientology up out here. I mean,
Oh,
it is
yeah,
like,
you'd have a heyday.
Terrifying.
Yeah, but then they'll hunt you down.
Yeah, then they'll
Yes,
come
they
find me.
will.
Yeah.
They would love to have you in the
Oh,
church.
great.
They would love to have you. They love names. They love
Yes.
like a name. So you guys should just show up one day. Or do Kabbalah. Is Kabbalah still a thing?
What?
With the
world's
red,
Kabbalah?
the red
red
string.
yeah.
Madonna was Kabbalah.
Paris Hilton,
Oh, of course you
pretended,
would.
yeah.
Madonna.
I will say this though, Mormons that don't live in Utah, like an LA Mormon, they're totally freaking normal.
Interesting.
Totally normal. The Utah ones go so hardcore
They're so
that it's
Osmond.
like,
They're like all in.
yeah, that it almost becomes like, how can you believe in this when you have so much hate in your heart for someone who just isn't like you? It doesn't make any sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, why Salt Lake? Why is everyone in? Why are all
The
the Mormons
founder
in
of the
Salt Lake?
church.
The founder of the church
Yeah.
settled and said, this is the place in
This is the
Utah.
place.
If you have not seen American Primeval on Netflix, very short. It's only 6 episodes. It was directed by Pete Burr, if you know who that is. It is so incredible.
Okay.
It is about the Mormons and how they came to be in Utah and how fucked up it was, like the slaughtering that happened.
The slaughtering?
Yes. So it was basically the Mormons
Like in Utah?
in Utah, the Mormons, Shoshones, Paiutes, and the U.S. government. And dude, you
Oh, I
have
gotta
to watch
that.
it.
Okay.
He's like, I'm not interested. Let's talk
No,
about
no,
Mormon
no. It's
wives.
all going.
No, no.
I'm like
American Primeval. Is that-
American Primeval, but it's not some weird history like you have to sit there. It's so freaking good.
And it's on what?
Netfllix.
Okay, I'm gonna watch that.
Do
I
it.
know you- I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, we are going to go back to kids because you have a very interesting like way of having your children. Obviously, the first one was with your ex baby daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Will you let our listeners know how Sosa came about?
Sosa came about. I left my ex when Ocean was 7 months. And I thought, that our life was like very normal as it could be for an LA couple, him doing movies, me being in reality TV. And I thought, we put a lot of thought into bringing Ocean into the world. She wasn't an oopsie. And then on October 15th of 2021, Ocean again, 7 months, it was like the mask fell off of my ex and all of his dark secrets and hidden life was exposed, and it really took its toll on me. And I can't even honestly and wholeheartedly say that I've been healed from that. Like, I'm still very nervous to go out and date and do that whole thing. And so in this time frame, I know that I want more kids, but I'm so terrified of having it not work out again that I didn't want a man involved. Like, I was doing the whole custody battle. I saw how the court system, the family court system worked, and I didn't want to take a chance. Mm-hmm. And people would say, but what if you found the one? And it's like, but they may be the one right now, but it's not a sure thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm down to like take risks, not when it comes to my kids. So I started inquiring about like getting a donor.
And you gave me chills, by the way. When it's such a strong statement. Sorry, continue.
No, I love it. That's kind of the same. I get chills when I talk about it because it was such a terrifying, yet it felt so right type of feeling. And I just started going through the process and inquiring, like, how does a donor work? You see these Netflix documentaries where it's like the man with 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit nervous, right? And I came in contact with the California Cryobank, and they just basically held my hand the entire way through. I listened to my gut, which I hadn't listened to my gut in the past, and it was just like pulling at me saying, sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I mean, you're good.
It just felt very right,
Yeah.
And some people say like that's selfish. You want your baby to just be all yours. You didn't think about, that she's not going to have a dad. And I'm like, well, what about lesbian couples? And
Right.
what about
I adopted. I was a gay couple.
That's just such a strange way to look at something. And what about, women who have baby daddies who they just disappear and they don't care about their kid?
Right.
There's always going to be something that someone doesn't have a solid opinion on. And I didn't give a fuck. I was like, this is right for me. They signed me up to, it's like shopping, you guys.
Yeah, I want to
It
know
was
all
so much
about
fun. So basically, it's this website, and they've got all of these photos. Some of the men do not allow for their, adult photo to be shown.
Okay.
And I actually told them, I was like, any donor who has their adult photo on here, I don't want to see.
Why?
To me, it created a personal connection, which is what I
Okay.
wanted to avoid. I also didn't want to be out in LA somewhere and be like, oh my gosh, I think that's
Okay.
the donor.
Yeah, okay.
Like I just
I see that.
I wanted some distance. So I chose to look at profiles that only had childhood photos.
Okay.
Now, the donor that I chose is considered a platinum donor, which means he's one family unit. No one else has his goods. Unless he were to go out and have a family on his own, which he's very much entitled to doing. No one else gets them.
Do you have to pay more for that platinum?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was
do.
thinking. Yeah.
So you're not
And-
going to have the 1,000 babies with the sprint, the type of thing you said.
There are
Right.
contracts involved, but obviously, you hope that there's contracts signed all the time that people break. So
Yeah.
I'm not naive to the point where I'd be like, that would never happen. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm at a 98% that it won't happen. The rest of the profiles, you guys, they have this vial in the corner. And if it's red, getting to be red, it means there's only a few vials left. So you need to act quick if you want their sperm.
Wow.
Yes.
It's revolve,
Yeah.
only a few left.
Yeah, isn't that wild? And they give you everything. And it tells you how many family units. So some people are 3 family units. Some dudes are 7 family units. So if you want all of their goods, you have to buy up all 7 units.
What was it about this particular profile that you're like, that's the one?
So I didn't care. This sounds so horrible. I didn't care what he looked like in the sense of when people were, talking about they want them. They focus on the physical part first, right?
Yeah.
It's rude, but my baby daddy is not the most attractive man, and Ocean is beautiful and happy and healthy. So I'm like, if a donor speaks to me, I'm gonna go off that more so than their look.
Okay.
What I will say is I wanted the donor to look enough like the family to where it's not where did you
Who's
come
this
from?
kid? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now it's a whole other set of issues. Not only are you a baby from a donor, but I wanted to
biracial.
make their life
Yeah.
as easy as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And then there's the longest panel of testing, genetic testing that you can possibly have done. And I have to go in and do the same thing to make sure that there's no both carrying of something that the child could get. And it's everything down to their favorite song. This sounds crazy. What would you tell your future children? Because a lot of these dudes, you think that they're doing it for a cash grab. They don't make a lot of money. And I asked this, and they could have been just throwing hot air. But they said a lot of these dudes that come in, they really have a personal connection with either adoption or a lesbian couple or someone who's just been really, really wanting a baby and they want to help in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And only 1% of people who donate their sperm actually make it to, you've got to...
Yeah, the actual donor or the
Right.
actual recipient.
Yes, and you have to go through a 10-day quarantine. You have to be drug and alcohol free. You can't donate after the age of 35. So there's a lot of things that go into it. I also heard the donor's voice, and that's when I was hot voice.
You get to hear their voice.
Like he read something.
They asked him questions.
Okay.
So you could hear his tone, how he answered, if there was a lot of pausing. And
he has no idea that.
No, he has no idea that
about it,
I'm
though,
the buyer.
Like, holy shit! Look
I
where
know.
my sperm
She
ended
wants,
up.
that's why she wants no physical connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, does it ever open a window of opportunity if at some point your daughter wants to know
Yes.
Yeah.
When she turns 18, if she has the desire to find him, we contact the cryobank and they give us basically a portfolio of everything about him and where to find him.
Really?
Yes.
So do they have to sign up for that?
They have to be okay with that. That's not just offered to.
So it was that part of when you were considering, was that part like, I want her to eventually maybe be able to meet him if she wants? And so guys who were completely shut off to that.
I think that didn't matter to me.
Okay.
That part didn't matter to me. What I loved that at the age of 18, where she's going to be an adult, if she wants to, figure out more about where she comes from, she'll be able to go and do that. But I loved it because it's also like you can't come into the picture and state claim at any point in time until this child is an adult.
Yeah.
Because the court system's
Legally.
crazy.
Yeah.
I heard about this woman who got a donor, met a guy, they end up getting married. The child was with this guy in her day-to-day routine. He filed for 50-50 custody and actually got it. And she got a donor.
It wasn't his.
The child was not his, but because he was living in the home with the kid and a part of the day-to-day routine, he was able to get 50-50 custody. It gets very, very sticky.
Yeah, yeah. My partner is a judge, and for many years he was a family court judge, and so he did that. I mean, you would have these situations like that would come before the bench, and it's like, holy shit, I don't know about you guys, but I love to eat well. I just don't have time to prep and cook a meal every single day with my daughter, my job. Life, it's just too busy. So I've been leaning into Factor meals, nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick meals that fit your goals. For example, Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. The other great thing, we're talking about breakfast, lunches, premium dinners, guilt-free snacks, and desserts. And now you can save. To get started, all you have to do is go to factormeals.com/morningafter50off or use the code morningafter50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. The code morningafter50off at factormeals.com/morningafter50off for 50% off plus free shipping.
Now, would you want more kids if you... what is your thought
And
on
would you
that?
use the same donor?
I would use the same donor. So I have 7 vials of grade A spermage and then 10 on back stock.
Do you have grade A sperm?
10? No, I have 0 sperm. I shoot blanks. Yeah, I mean...
Oh,
You're
you'd
not
be
trying
a
to get a
real
woman
winner
pregnant.
for a woman.
If I was a straight guy, just 21 and going out and
You would score a lot.
right?
Yeah,
But
well
no.
done.
Good for you.
Yeah.
By the way,
but I'm
though,
a gay with no sperm, so whatever. But
Still good for you.
Yeah, great.
It works.
Yeah.
All right, so you would use the same. You have the vials.
I have the vials, and I got pregnant the first time, so I still have 6. I'm going to get a little vein right now, though. I think about a third until I bend in a weird way and my stomach looks like I'm a 97-year-old grandma.
Oh, my God.
Does that go away? You have 4 kids. Does it go away, or do you have to get a treatment done?
Yeah,
treatment.
Treatment. I mean, I
also had
stretched out. I
twins.
stretched out big time.
Oh, your body's slamming.
Well,
Are we allowed to say that? I mean it with
Thank
all
you. I would love
and
that. Thank
respect.
you. Thank you. Well, and yours too. And I will say the thought of other children, having more, is always hard because your body just reacts differently to every baby.
Right.
And I'm not going to lie, it gets worse with every baby.
Would you ever do a surrogate?
I'm too much of a control freak, and I
Yeah.
actually really, really enjoy pregnancy, and I
Okay.
love when people are like, don't move anything, relax, you're pregnant. And I'm like, okay.
All right, great. Can you grab me that over there? Now, speaking, I want to know too, though, because we're talking about kids and we're talking about, obviously you're a modern mom, which is, I love so much. And you're giving, I think, a lot of strength to a lot of women who might not have a man in their lives or don't really think they need one, and they don't. And I love that you do that for women. I think that's incredible.
Thank you.
Here's
Yes.
my question.
Okay.
You mentioned dating earlier and how you were kind of nervous about it. Do you see yourself giving in to dating life and eventually, trying to date and see? Or are you kind of closing that off for right now?
I wouldn't say that I'm closing it off, but I'm not actively out here trying to find somebody. I think if I had a friend who said, like, I have a really great guy for you that I would love for you to meet, I would totally be open to that. But it's almost like I need someone to co-sign on it. I have a really hard time, though, justifying taking time away from my kids in such a fleeting moment to go and give time and attention to some guy.
Yeah.
It feels very, very strange. And people are like, well, you do it when they go to bed. They don't even know you're gone. I know I'm gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel quite right. So I don't know. And it makes me a little nervous because I'm like, am I getting so comfortable in just like being this single mom who like gets the job done? I got a drawer full of vibrators. Like, I got nothing to complain about.
You don't need a dude, yeah.
He's like drama free.
Is it only like you would only want to be introduced by somebody else, or would you ever do like the Raya and like meet a guy that way maybe? Or?
Okay, so I was on the phone with my friend who actually shares kids with my ex. So we share a baby daddy.
Okay.
I called her last night and she goes to vent, and she goes
About the 11 p.m. flight.
right.
Okay.
And she goes, I'm just in bed with like a hot guitarist right now. And I thought she was fucking with me. I was like, haha, same. And he goes, hey, Lala. I was like, what the fuck? What? And she goes, I met him on Raya. So then I'm talking to the both of them, and I asked, like, is Raya one of those places where it's just for hooking up?
No. I don't think so. I mean, who knows? I was like,
I
wasn't even
Raya.
accepted on Raya, and we
Yeah.
like know the founder, and I still like wasn't even a.
What did she say?
She said, so the dude said, I can't answer for females, but when I get on, like, I'm looking to meet someone. Like, that's why I'm with Amber right now. And she said a lot of the dudes she's come in contact with, they just sit there and, like, talk back and forth and never make a plan. And she goes, I tell them straight up, I don't need a fucking pen pal. Like, be gone, bro.
I think
Yeah.
any dating app is kind of like that. But Raya originally, like years ago, a decade ago, was like ultra exclusive. And now, like, I have friends on it who I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're on Raya. Oh my God, Kiki's on it.
You're on it?
Yeah, she's on Raya.
So she can tell
She's
us.
hot, yeah.
Great.
Okay, but let me tell you what I think they should do on dating apps who are serious about, like, hooking people up. They should do a section where the women who have been out, or men have been out with someone,
Reviews.
leave a review, and if they get to a certain point where it's like, we slept together and he ghosted me, or, you know, whatever happened, you gotta go. Your intentions are not to find someone. Go to, like, one of these other, like slide in the
Tinder.
DMs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's actually a really good point.
I know.
You've been so out of that game for so. Like,
I know, you're so
I mean,
lucky.
you like organically met. You're like, you know, knight in shining armor and the whole thing, and
It was
apps
so
weren't even a
beautiful.
thing. It was beautiful, and apps weren't even like.
I like a little messy.
Yeah, well, you
At the
can't have
beginning.
perfect. I mean,
No.
you can't do it. It just doesn't exist. And honestly, again, I'm grateful for everything we went through because it got us where we were. But do you ever? I want to ask you this, and I hope I'm not overstepping, but you know, I am all in for a mom who always is kid first, as you should be, right? Your kid should always come first. But I do think eventually I would want you to be able to either share that love with somebody. And here's what I'll say. Like, with 4 kids, I always find myself when Matthew's in season going crazy because I have no adult to talk to.
Right.
And I had no adult to complain to about our children. Like, I just want to be like, they
So we
fucking
do it on
suck
this
today.
podcast.
Yeah. We're talking to a mic. Get it
1
all
hour
out.
a week, we bitch about kids.
Yeah. So my kids can listen to this later,
Yeah.
like, wow, you really didn't like us.
Yeah.
No, I love them so much. But that would be my hope for you. So, like, whether it's dating apps or, like, I know dating life sucks. I feel like you go into a bar and also all the men want, like, 14-year-old, no, God, that sounds bad, 20-year-old girls.
Right. That's the other thing. Is like I'm getting, like, I'm going to be 35 this year. These
Honey,
dudes
you
want
are
like a 20.
so hot. I'm telling you, the
know.
problem is Los Angeles. If you move to like
Don't say Detroit.
Dallas,
Oh,
you'd be
hot
if you
men
moved
in
to
Dallas.
Detroit,
There
you'd
are
be a
hot-
12. Like any at Chicago. LA like skews everything. It's not real life. But
It
like
is-
if you lived in these real American cities, you'd walk into a bar.
Real
people would be like,
American cities with real men.
Yeah, real men.
Right.
Real men, I think, is what it is.
And that's what I need. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not looking. What I used to be into is not what I'm into now.
Yeah.
And
because you've grown up.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot at stake
There's
now.
kids
Back in
involved,
the
too.
day, when you don't have anything to lose, it's very easy to go out and date and mingle. When you have actual shit to protect and you have on the line, including and most importantly, 2 little babies who depend on you, you go out there with your guard up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a protective mom. I totally get it.
Yes.
I'm only asking this question for the reporter from the New York Post who loves to listen to everything Kelly says and then give us a little blurb in the paper the week later. If you had to pick one of your castmates from Vanderpump to be
Okay.
your donor, who would it be?
So easy, Tom Schwartz.
Really?
Yes. And
Why Tom?
I just find him to be lovely. You know, I wouldn't ever want him as a husband. You know, I don't think that maybe he's changed now because he got the test run. I
Yeah.
don't mean that in a bad way.
Right,
I
right,
think
right.
there's a
He
lot
went
of things
through
he
it.
wish
went
he
through
would have
it.
done
Yeah.
differently. But I think that he would be very pleasant. I don't think he'd give me a hard time. And I would have no problem being like, sure, like take them to the park. Like I would trust him. You know, and he's fun.
Yeah.
So, and he and his ex-wife Katie, they have a really great dynamic, which
They've
is
worked it
not.
out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
So
in general shows
that's
maturity too.
Yeah, of
which is what you
course.
want.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I would for sure choose him, and he's so stinking cute.
Is there one that you absolutely would not choose?
I would never choose James.
Oh, not what I thought you were going to say.
Who do
Okay.
you think, Jax?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Jax. Who's a Detroiter, so a lot of Midwest love
Yes.
for Jax and, whatever. But
He's on that new show, right?
the Valley, you've
Yes.
had your Valley moments. So
Yep.
are you considering Valley, or are you just like dipping in and out?
This season, I'm like very pregnant. So I was invited to a few things, but it was really important for me to just kind of like veg and protect my peace.
Yeah.
And, they have a wonderful show going. They've got epic cast members. And I respect, and you probably do too, I respect the art of reality TV.
Yeah.
That shit is not easy.
Nope.
So
I want to know about that. What do you mean the art?
It's tricky.
Like, here's my
tricky.
thing. Okay, so it's
Because you have to create personas. You have to create the whole
You
engine.
have to forget that a camera is there. You have to bring the drama, but you have to make sense. You also have to create lighthearted moments because people want to have fun. They don't want it super heavy. So when you can find a cast where each person can forget that a camera is watching them and live authentically who they are, you just have like the best reality show. That's what made Roni.
Yeah.
Those women were unproducible in the best way possible. You could not tell them shit.
And they were like the most, the reality is none of them were like a big deal. They were, as Bethany would say, they were just like, Bethany was living in a 700 square foot apartment,
Yeah.
schlucking her skinny girl all over town. Like they
Hawking
were,
mini muffins at the pier.
I mean, when you look back and you see her out there, it's just like it blows my mind. But that's what it is. It's about being authentic, and it's about creating. You create a character. You create a character. Are you happy with the character that they created for you? Because everybody kind of became a character.
Yeah, I think when you go into that situation and you're being yourself, you have to at some point, like I say that Lala is like my alter ego. It's very much me, but in my mind, I'm thinking I have a layer of protection. So to the outside world, they're like, well, are you playing a character? No, I'm being myself, but I've mentally told myself that there's a place that you cannot pass. And I think every single person who's been on reality TV for the longest subconsciously does that, because if you don't, it's just not natural to have a bunch of strangers know you to your very core.
Yeah. That would
And
be
judge
really
that.
weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's with reality TV, and obviously every mom is very protective of her kids, but do you think you're more protective because of the fact that you were on reality TV and had so many opinions formed about you because of that?
Yeah. I do.
I'm just thinking, and you have 2 girls.
Yeah.
Which I always think about girls in this world, and it's going to be tough as shit to raise girls because everyone has an opinion, especially on women and what they look like and what they can do and can't do and things like that. But when you put yourself out there and immediately you can't control what people are saying, and you say you can control some of the, dynamic of what your character is. But at the end of the day, like, going through that, I'm wondering, when you have these girls and you're watching them grow up and things like that, do you think you become a little overprotective just because of the experience you had in reality TV?
Yes, I get very, very mama bear. And there have been many times where I'm like, should I post, my kids on social media and expose them to that world? And I'm like, I'm not going to have these little fuckwads, these trolls that come out of their hole to be mean for 5 seconds and then go back to their cubicle, take away from like the beauty that is my life and people who could be inspired or relate to that. That to me outweighs the rest of it. But I think it's just natural to step into mama bear mode. There's something that happens to you, whether you carry your own child or your baby is coming, a maternal instinct just happens where you will never be the same person ever again.
Yeah.
True.
It's so true.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
we
so
all get
good.
it.
I think about my old self and I'm like, rest in peace, old self.
Yeah, right?
No
Where you're like,
wonder.
bitch, you used to really be a banger. You used to like not have red eyes, well rested.
What happened? I feel like every day I
happened?
wake up now I'm like, ooh, okay, eye drops.
Eye drops.
As you experienced walking in with
Yeah.
Hank. But like just something to make me feel, I don't know, like I'm not exhausted from being protective and making sure these kids are thriving and feel loved and all the things that you want to
Totally.
do as a mom without losing your mind.
Yeah, I'm
Which-
excited at some point to get my Lala back.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think
because my identity lies within them right now, and that's beautiful. But I do think about like I would like to have my identity back.
Yeah.
I
There's
think
a
you-
balance.
I think you should brand that. You should tell all moms that they have to find their inner Lala.
I love that too.
That's really
Get your Lala. Oh, shit. Here we go.
Here we go.
50-50. 50-50. Get your inner Lala.
Come up for some shit for our podcast. Damn. All right. Well, Lala,
Working
it
for
was so
Lala.
great. Honestly, I mean, I know we're out of time, but I genuinely just love talking to you. You feel
This was awesome.
You feel like just a friend I've known for a long time, and also I feel like I learned a lot from you. Even though you are a little bit younger than me, that's fine. I'm just aging over here.
I had the best time. You guys are great. That flew by.
It did fly
Right?
by.
Wow, thank you for having me.
Yes. Well,
Thank
tell
you.
everyone where they can find you. Also, the name of your podcast. So. they can
Yes. You can find me on Instagram at Lala Kent. You can listen to my podcast wherever you get your podcast. That's at Give Them Lala. Or is it an ad? I don't know. I'm
who knows
such a
more?
square, you guys.
Yeah,
and then
we're right there
I'm
with you.
on the TikTok.
Oh,
So
fun.
I know. I've been like alive and well on there. Some people don't like that, but TikTok is at Give Them Lala as well.
I mean, some people aren't going to like anything you do.
I
So
know.
that just
And
When
is
I
soon-
remind
soon
people I
launching
breathe-
Find Your Lala or Get Your Lala back.
Yeah, but yes, I like that.
We'll find her together.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. Well, rate 5 stars, like, subscribe to our YouTube, drop a comment, and we'll see you on Thursday's TMA. At the end of this, we always do like have a splash, make a splash. Are you cool doing that?
Yeah, what is that?
So we say have a splash.
because we like, and then you say make a splash, and then
Perfect.
we cheers.
That's so cute.
All right, ready?
Yeah, have a splash.
Make a splash.
Yay! Thank you, Lala.